This is the manipulative site that I have shared that I liked before. And so now I'm going to show you how you can do it with division. So for some of your students, if they're coming into middle school and they're struggling with traditional division, yes, this will take longer, but it does seem to be helping. So let's take an example. Let's say we have 363 divided by 3. Now, some of your students can do long division, and that's great. But let's talk about what's going to happen if they can't. So if they can't, they can take and they can drag over 3 100s. They can drag over 6 10s. And then 3 1s. So they are very comfortable with the base 10 blocks. That's what I found with my students. So now, because we're dividing by 3, they're going to split these into 3 groups. So we're going to make 3 groups. And then we split all the 100s. So then we're going to split all of the groups of 10. And then we're going to split all of the 1s. And then they're going to count up what each group has. And it should be the same. So it should be the same. So each group has 1 100. They have 2 10s and they have 1 left over. So 363 divided by 3 is 121. So what happens when there is a remainder? So let's look at one where there's a remainder. So in this example, I have added in a number that is not going to divide, and it's also going to require us to borrow. So in the typical long division that we teach students, students might not understand when we say, okay, well, how many groups of 4 can you make out of 2? And you say 0, and then you go over and now you can make groups. So what's actually happening? So this is one thing that these blocks really help with. So I cannot make 4 groups because I only have 2 of these. So what I then need to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to break them apart over here. So I'm going to split these apart on this side. So I split these apart. So this is still 10 blocks, but they're split apart. So now we're going to look to make 4 groups. So we need to make 4 groups of them. And one thing, if your students are struggling with their groups, you can have them draw circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, if they're having problems with that. So then just have them separate these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of times students will pick up about how many they could put in. So that's why I started doing 5, because students would say, oh, I could probably put about 5 in there. There's a few more, so then they would start doing them by 1s because they know they're close. Okay, so there's 1 left over. So once the students get to this point, they can say, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each one, and there is a remainder of 1. So when we tell them about the long division and they say 6 times 4 is 24, and they subtract and they get 1, and you say, okay, well, there's a remainder of 1, this is what's happening. So if your students are struggling with long division, your middle school students, I would recommend going back to these base 10 blocks. It seems to be really helping the students this year. So if they're struggling, try the base 10 blocks. And they seem to be helping. And then maybe as they understand more and more of the models, you can start connecting the base 10 blocks to regular long division.